Good evening. This is a meeting of the Athens Board of Zoning Appeals. The time is 7:01 p.m. and the date is December 13th, 2022. At this time, I will call the meeting to order. The board consists of 5 members and 2 alternates, the alternates taking full part in the discussions and becoming a voting member in the absence of a member or when a member abstains for conflict of interest. Present tonight are members Robert Delich, Kelly Sauber, and Kate Tousley, and alternate Aaron Thomas. I am Lisa Carson, the chair. Also present is zoning administrator Mr. David Riggs. At this time, I invite you to view a pre-recorded video on the rules and procedures of the board. The Athens Board of Zoning Appeals operates according to the following procedure. The chair will name and describe the case. The zoning administrator or secretary will state the basis of the objection and any applicable facts or conditions pertaining to the case. The appellant or their representative will give reason why the appeal should be viewed favorably. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the request will be heard. Anyone wishing to speak in general comment will be heard. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition will be heard. If necessary, the appellant or their representative will offer concluding, summary, or rebuttal remarks. Testimony from the floor shall be closed. The board will deliberate and render a decision. According to Athens City Code, Section 23.07.03b, the board has power to grant variances from the strict application of the code, provided the variance will not be contrary to the public interest, the spirit of the code is observed, public safety and welfare are secured, and substantial justice is done. According to Athens City Code, Section 23.07.10c, variances from the code shall not be granted unless the board makes specific findings of fact, based directly on the particular evidence presented to it, that the standards and conditions imposed in this title, if applicable, have been met by the applicant. Exceptional circumstances. There are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property in question or to the intended use of the property that do not apply generally to other properties or classes or uses in the same zone. Practical difficulty and undue hardship. Because of exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions pertaining to a specific piece of property, a literal enforcement of these regulations will result in practical difficulty or undue hardship that is unnecessary to the achievement of public purposes. Preservation of equal property rights. Literal interpretation of these regulations would deprive the appellant of rights commonly enjoyed by others in the same zone and the same vicinity, while a granting of the requested variance will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied to other properties in the same zone and the same vicinity. Minimum variance. The variance granted is the minimum variance required to make possible the reasonable use of the property. Absence of detriment. The authorizing of such variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent property and will not materially impair the purpose of the zoning code or the public interest. Not of a general nature. The condition or situation of the specific piece of property or the intended use of said property for which variance is sought, one or the other or in combination, is not of so general or recurrent a nature as to make reasonably practicable the formulation of a general regulation for such condition or situation. Any person, resident, or officer, department, or appointed body of the City of Athens, aggrieved by a decision of the board, may petition the Athens County Court of Common Pleas concerning the illegality of the decision. Such petition must be filed within 30 days after the mailing of the decision of the board to the applicant. Thank you. There's one case on tonight's agenda. It is, if I can find my, oh my goodness, just playing with all my papers. Here it is. It is for the property at 122 Central Avenue. I can't believe I lost my cheat sheet. Okay. The board is required to take testimony under oath. Would anyone wishing to speak concerning any item on the agenda please stand? Do you don't have to come to the podium quite yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you swear or affirm that any testimony you will present to the board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, we do. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so case 2213V at 122 Central Avenue. The appellant is requesting a variance from Athens City Code 231001, Table A, Schedule of Bulk Controls, to allow a covered porch with a front yard setback of 13 inches where 13 feet and 1 inch is required. So, Mr. Riggs, can you fill us in?
Yes, Ms. Chair, members of the committee, this property is located at the intersection of Mary and Central. It also has an alley on the east side behind it. So this is a corner lot, as we would say. This is actually a very small lot. It was platted in the early years of the city, so it's a small house with a small lot. The actual size of the lot is 50 by 126. That does not meet our current minimum width of 66 feet, and it does not meet our minimum total square foot allowance at 6,300 square feet, where 8,000 square feet is the minimum allowed now. So it's actually a much smaller lot than we allow anymore. And they're asking for a variance to the front setback. They meet the side setbacks as well as the total lot coverage. So they're just asking for a front yard setback for their porch.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the code director?
Yes. 13 feet 1 inch. Can you explain? I assume that's because the house is actually
in an
within.
R1 zone, it's typically 25 feet from the setback, but if there are other homes to the left and right that are closer than that were built before the code was created, we follow that, whatever the closest house is to the left and the right, and that's why you have this odd number of 13 feet and change.
So then the house next to it.
I think it has to be the house to the south.
Okay.
Is also closer than what's allowed, but that was pre-existing. Yeah.
So normally be 25 feet.
Normally would be 25
Wow.
feet, yes, sir.
It's a big setback.
Okay, could the appellant or whoever wants to speak first please come to the podium? Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Zachary Rises. I live at 122 Central Avenue. With permission, I'll explain just a little bit, and Director Riggs, thank you as well. I'm hoping I can get those numbers. I didn't know my precise lot size, so that's great to know. I recently purchased this home. It was a rental. I purchased it from the owners who specifically wanted to sell to a first-time home buyer, and it's also previously, now having been a rental, will now be a homeowner-occupied home by me. I did have a front porch built that I did not really fully understand as a first-time home buyer. The process to go through prior to doing construction, and I did have a porch on the front there, not the same size, hence has been explained to me was the issue. I do have with me Jack Hazley and Wyatt, I don't know your last name.
Clark.
Wyatt Clark, who recently started their company, A-Town Builders. And so I wanted to support a new company, guys my age, building in Athens. And all around there was a lot of good intention. But anyhow, here we are, and I'm hoping you'll grant our variance request. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Questions?
Yeah, I have a question. How did you decide to make it the 22 by 12?
Great, yeah, thank you. I've got a vision for the house. So first of all, it is the width of the house. So it spans from my front door, which is right at the side, all the way to the driveway. And then the decision to come forward on the lot was more of an aesthetic one, like the 8 feet, 12 feet. It was an aesthetic choice based on the fact that I've got basically a a very narrow lot with a lot of front yard, and then a nice space kind of in front of where the porch now is to do some gardening, a raised bed or something like that, and then the strip that is gravelled now, I'm going to have it re-gravelled in the spring, that I understand is city right-of-way, but sort of parking on the street generally in the way that there is just parking on the west side. And so it was really an aesthetic choice where the previous sort of cement walkway was, and there's an intersection with a tree. That's really it.
What was there before?
Was
a porch there before?
It was a stoop. It wasn't anything
okay.
nearly 22 by 12, but.
So I'm confused because, so is the variance really for the porch period? Because it says covered porch, but it's not currently covered, right?
So it's not currently covered because we stopped work as soon as code came by.
Okay.
And the intention is just to be able to sit out in the rain and
Yeah,
not be rained on. That's all.
okay. Any other questions for the appellant? All righty, you can be seated.
Thank you.
And is there anyone who wishes to speak in support of the variance?
I think Zach covered
Yeah.
everything pretty much.
You don't have to. I will read a letter of support signed by 3 neighbors. To whom it may concern, we, the undersigned, join in this letter supporting the front porch replaced by Zachary Rises, owner at 122 Central Avenue. The porch Mr. Rises built is appropriately sized, beautifies the neighborhood, and generally improves area property values. Since purchasing the property, Mr. Rises has demonstrated drive and commitment to improving the home value and aesthetics of his property. In a neighbor that has gradually been shifting toward increased rates of rental units, it is refreshing and positive to have a first-time homeowner move into our neighborhood. It is additionally refreshing to have that homeowner invest significant funds in improvements to his property. We implore the Board of Zoning Appeals to grant Mr. Rises the variance he has requested. Sincerely, and it's signed by, that's what I was looking for when I got lost, because I can't read the signature. Is it Robert Bauer?
Yes.
Yeah. Robert Bauer, 123 Central Avenue, Cynthia Arvidsson, 120 Central, and Cyrus Moore, 135 Central. All right, there's no one else present who wants to speak in support. No one is present who, are you against it? No. Okay. No one,
Just to cause a little bit of
yeah, it needs some tension, some drama. No one present to speak at all. So unless you have anything to add or anyone has come up with a question, I will close the floor to debate. Who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to grant a variance for 122 Central Avenue, variance from ACC 23.10.01, Table A, Schedule of Bulk Controls, to allow a covered porch with a front yard setback of 13 inches where 13 feet, 1 inch is required.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, let's go through the findings. Are there exceptional circumstances applying to the property in question?
Yes, I think as Mr. Riggs said, it's a non-conforming property that came about before code came about, and consequently, it has a very small lot size compared to what it should have.
I agree. Is there practical difficulty and undue hardship were we to literally enforce the regulations? That follows from what Kay said, basically.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there is. And the situation is that you really, I think even stairs, I think I said in the documentation, even putting stairs on the front door would fall within and need a variance. So you're going to need a variance to do anything there. And so therefore, yeah, I think it is undue hardship.
Thank you. Would literal interpretation of the regulations deprive the appellant of rights commonly enjoyed by others in the same zone? And would granting of the variance confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied to others? No, they pointed out that other people have similar.
There's a number of porches on the street, for sure.
Good. Is this the minimum variance required to make possible the reasonable use of the property?
Yes, it's a modestly sized
Yeah.
porch.
I agree. Anyone pipe up if you're, wanting to be contrarian? Absence of detriment. Would authorizing the variance be of substantial detriment to adjacent property?
Homeowners signed off on the neighbors signed off on
Yeah.
a letter supporting it, so.
Yep, and no one has opposed it. Is this of a general nature?
Not really.
I wouldn't say so. Okay, well, I just went through my little Roberts rules. It says I'm supposed to restate the motion. I'm trying to become a better chair. Okay, so the motion was to grant a variance at 122 Central Avenue from Athens City Code 23-1001, Table A, Schedule of Bulk Controls, to allow a covered porch with a front yard setback of 13 inches where 13 feet and 1 inch is required. Would all who wish to vote for the variance please raise your right hand? So no opposed, 5-4, and so there you have it. I'm sorry we couldn't have more tension and drama, but
I love a little bit of municipal.
well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you all
Yeah.
so much.
Congratulations on your purchase.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I appreciate it. Everyone should come to my housewarming party in the spring.
Definitely, wouldn't miss it.
On the porch, on the new porch.
On the new porch. Okay, so that was our only case, so our only other business is to
Approve the minutes.
Minutes.
approve the minutes. Who
I
would
wasn't-
like to?
I wasn't here, so. I
Oh,
can't-
okay.
And I don't, which one was it? I'm
I
not
don't
sure if
remember who was
either.
it. Well, wait, it should say on it.
Lisa, Kay,
That was
Kelly, Ben,
October.
and Joe. Uh-oh.
Well, I think 3 will be enough,
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah, 3's
all-
enough.
Yeah. So, Kelly and Kay, one of you needs to move that we approve the minutes. Yes.
All right, thank you, Kelly. I move that we approve the minutes from last time in October.
And will someone second?
I will second that.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I'm just
all,
not certain of the verbiage, and I don't have a cheat sheet in front
Oh,
of me.
it's
so
okay.
I was going to-
all of the 3 of us in favor of approving the minutes as written, please raise your right hand. So the minutes are approved. At this time, do we have to have a motion to adjourn?
You do.
Okay. Who would like to move that we
I
adjourn?
move to adjourn.
I second.
Oop.
Here we go.
Did we vote?
You can if you want.
Okay, let's have a vote
Well,
for
let's do
adjourning
it.
the meeting. Okay, meeting is adjourned.